Hey, welcome to Noble Coffee and Tea. I'm Chuck Lofton. This is Matt Standridge. Matt, this is one of my favorite coffee shops in the entire state. I love the vibe. Yes. I love the coffee, and I'm so glad to have you here because we're going to talk not only about this wonderful town of Noblesville, but more importantly about your transition as my successor, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor. And I'm really thankful to Mason and his family for opening up his coffee shop today.
Yeah, Mason owns this place, and it's a wonderful place.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about your background. I know people know that you're from Eastern Indiana, but your career is varied. So tell me about it.
Yeah, so grew up in Centerville, Indiana, and it's one of those places where we're just on the edge. You can just barely get Channel 13, but I would watch every morning, and I watched you, Chuck. I was a lot of meteorologists growing up.
I appreciate it.
And I just always felt like I was really ready for the forecast. But after that, once I graduated from Centerville, went to Valpo for the 4-year degree in meteorology school. And then I started in Tornado Alley. I started in Arkansas and Oklahoma. I actually have some family down towards the south, down in that direction as well. And so I worked in the Fort Smith and Northwest Arkansas area, but eventually worked my way up to being chief over there. But my goodness, the Tornado Alley is a beast. Indiana is a beast as well.
Yeah.
But there have been a lot of late nights tracking severe weather, and I got good experience there. And I feel like I'm ready to tackle on what Indiana has to bring now.
Well, you're ready, that's for sure. And, you know, I tell people a lot, Matt, that the most important thing, if you had to prioritize what we do and the importance, it would be severe weather. So when the station was looking for someone to replace me, they had to have someone who is experienced in severe weather. Now, you're also experienced in radar, right? That was a part of your early career.
Yeah, in fact, you know, I knew I wanted to be a meteorologist, but I didn't know if I wanted to be in TV or not.
Right.
So my first job was a government meteorologist up in the Dakotas. And so we'd work on a hail project where we do a lot of research, and we would send up these government aircraft, and they would almost have their wingtips on the edge of these supercells. So normally you got to stay about 10 miles away from a thunderstorm. It's very dangerous, but we had this clearance, and it was a very humbling job because I had these pilots' lives in my hand. And so we were doing this hail research up there and really fine-tuning that forecast where we think the hail is going to go next. Because as you know, hail can be very destructive.
To me, hail is one of the underreported aspects of severe weather because, well, ask any insurance person and they will tell you, what do you talk about? Yeah, it's important, and it really is.
It really is. Yeah, sometimes these hailstones were this big coming out of the sky. So it was great to track them and learn about that. And then it just I wasn't completely fulfilled yet, though. I had the weather side. But one thing that I knew I wanted to do is something with the community. And I felt like broadcast had a sense of that. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, how has being a meteorologist, but being a community really meteorologist, been to you throughout your career?
That's been the joy of the job, Matt, is to be involved in our great city and our great state. And I know I sound like a politician, but I really mean it. And that's been the joy of the job. It's wonderful to get people up every morning and ready for the day. And I always try to, even if it's a crummy forecast, it's 7 days out, so there's got to be a good day there. So we always try to end with that. But to be involved in the community makes you relevant. It makes you aware of things that add to the forecast because you know what's going on. And I think, honestly, as far as what Channel 13's business model is, it's news, public affairs, and community service. If it ever stops being that, we're in deep trouble, and I don't think it will be. But I think that's what's made Channel 13, WTHR, really a legendary brand in our business around the country.
I think over the past year, what I've really learned is how important you having that pulse on what's going on in the community is that important. Because one thing I realized being a radar meteorologist, I mean, we could control the radar, it was right behind us in a building. We could do a lot of cool stuff, but I would just be forecasting a storm. I didn't know if there was a county fair necessarily where that hailstorm was going or what dealerships were going on. We were just very focused on government and research. But what I've noticed every time we wake up in the morning, you know, we do our forecast together. But then your question is, who is this going to impact the most today? Who really needs to know about this? And I think that's completely helped change my view on why this is so important. And I really appreciate that from you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know you'll do a great job with it. I think what separates what we do in the mornings from what they do in the evenings. And Angela Buckman is the best.
Yes.
There is nobody better than Angela. Her role is a little different than mine. She gets time to spend on the why of what is happening. With us, it's what's happening. Yeah. How's it going to affect me during the day? And our bread and butter, as anybody that's watching this knows, are young moms with kids in the home. And it was that way in 1985. It's that way in 2025. And one of the things since I announced my retirement, and it's very emotional for me, Matt, is these moms, I'll be at a grocery store with my wife, a place I don't want to be, but then there'll be a young mom with 3 kids in the cart, sure. And she will say, I watched you. Sure. My mom watched you. I mean, now we're in the 4th generation, and my kids, while sunrise is on, they're getting ready for preschool. And what they say the same thing. You tell me what I need to know. And I really appreciate that. I mean, do they need to know why a front is coming out of the Rockies and building? Yeah, maybe. Sure. But they need to know, is it going to rain today? Exactly. And how should I prepare for that? And to find that people do appreciate that, it means the world to me. But again, we've built at Channel 13 a legacy on that kind of reporting. So it's a lot more fun too than the evenings. Don't tell Angela and Sean that. No. The big secret is it's a lot of fun because of the people that you get to deal with, and you're out of there in the afternoon.
Yes, yeah. I will say, when we show up early in the morning, everyone has a smile on their face. Yeah, it's been wonderful. But speaking of, you were just talking about all these generations, have grown up watching sunrise and getting ready for the day. When do you feel like it hit you for the first time that you are really part of these folks' lives? You're not just someone on the TV talking about weather, but you're part of their life.
3 months ago.
3 months ago.
Yeah. It kind of went back maybe 3 years ago when it first hit me. Megan Simpson, our producer, Steve Rhodes, our photographer for Chuck's Big Adventure, Megan set up this incredible interview with the band Chicago. And I'm fans of theirs. Sure, they're heroes of mine. Robert Lamb, James Pankow, and Lee Loughnane, the original remaining members. Yeah. But Robert Lamb, who's in the Grammy Hall of Fame for songwriting, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he said that they had just done their job as best as they could. They loved people's smiles, but then they got on the plane and they went back home. And he said, just that year, coming out of COVID actually, he realized, I think that we mean something to these people. They tell me about, we had Color My World at my wedding playing, or we've had generations that have gone to the concerts. And I thought, wow, that is fascinating. He never knew that. I told my wife that, and she said, you don't understand the role that sunrise has played in people's lives. And now that wherever we go, whether it's on our Chuck's Big Adventure trips or I'm at the grocery store, people are incredibly kind. And I'll tell you, the memory of a lifetime, and I'll always thank Megan for this, is we were in the parade, and Dave Calabro and I, who's a Hall of Famer, his beautiful wife, Lisa, my lovely wife, my beautiful wife, Mary, don't want to have a differentiation there. Lovely's the same as beautiful, baby. We were in the parade, and for the entire parade route, people were yelling at Dave and Chuck, and it's like, my gosh, this is real. Yeah. And it was overwhelming. It's a long way to answer your question, but I thank the station for putting me in these positions, and also the band Chicago for giving me some perspective.
Yeah. How do you feel like this job has changed since 1985? I mean, you were part of the first sunrise.
In one way, Matt, it's changed 100%, and in some ways, it's the same. It's changed 100% because of technology. When we first started the show, we went on at 6:30. The first week, I was living at the Embassy Suites downtown, and I had to live by myself up here for 4 months. Sure. But I thought, I can't do this. I'm getting up at 4:30, the show's at 6:30. I can't physically do this. When I was in Evansville, I was on the nights. But then as time grew, it was fine. The show expanded, so it's changed in that. We started at 6:30, now we start at 4, which is pure insanity.
It is early.
It's on your plate now, Matt, by the way. But so it's changed from that aspect. in the technology, obviously, it is 100% easier to forecast now than it was 40 years ago.
We have a lot more tools now.
A lot more tools, and the tools are more precise.
Sure.
Now, how it's not changed is grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, people getting ready for work, singles who are starting their career, and then again, our bread and butter, young moms with kids in the house. That's not changed, and that's not changed a bit. Those folks still count on us. And that is, again, I've talked about this with other morning weather people in the country at our conventions, and they say, well, it's kind of changed. It's not like that, but that's Indiana, right?
Yes.
We are very slow to change, and to that I say amen.
Sure, sometimes it's
especially in some of these traditional things.
Yeah, and I would say when you say those folks, you have touched people, not just in Indianapolis, but, well, across Indiana. But one reason why, you know, when I was little, we were trying to figure out what news to watch. We actually got access to Dayton TV as well because we're right on the state
Which
line.
is a very good television market.
Yeah, but the reason why we picked 13 is it's the first time we ever heard Centerville. By the time I graduated Centerville, we had one stoplight, and then now, in between college and now, we got a Casey's, we've got a new so we're expanding, we're growing here in Centerville.
And chicken is available now.
Chicken is available, 100%. I love it. But we had never heard our town. I never expected to hear my town. I was sitting there eating waffles. I always say 2 waffles in the morning and watch Channel 13. But then I think I choked for a second. I heard Centerville, you know? And so that has been something that I've tried to learn from you, is that learning about these communities more. I mean, I grew up here and, you know, I would play against some of these towns growing up, but now to see them and really focusing on their weather, I think really touches everyone, and knowing their mascots, that's been a big deal. You know, everyone's a mascot. Yeah. I don't know where your flashcards have been. I think they're in here somewhere now.
They're in here, and it's pathetic and sad, Matt, but yes, that's what I think about. Yeah.
For sure. But it's been funny. I mean, working with you in these mornings, for example, I'll give you a quick example. Grew up in Centerville. One of our main rivals is Northeastern. They're right across the interstate from us. And mentioned maybe one of their games, or we were focusing on a rain cell sitting over Wayne County. And I said something about Northeastern, and now talking with some of the teachers there, they're big fans of Channel 13, and they used to be my biggest rival, you know, but now, you know, it's just, we got to bring everyone together.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Our bread and butter is still Marion County, Indianapolis, and absolutely, we love you folks in Carmel and Avon and Greenwood and Center Grove, but I don't want to leave anybody out. And to give you an example of that, just a few years back, I had some correspondence from North White High School. Now,
that's up
I knew that North White was kind of in our viewing area, but not really. And not only did one of the administrators there notified me, he wanted me to come for their graduation and speak. And that's in Monon.
Yeah, that's out there.
But I got up there and I wondered how many people really know who I am or what. Everybody. Everybody. And it was amazing, and it really touched my heart. What are you looking forward to the most being on Sunrise?
I think being able to really touch on a lot of these community events. One thing I've noticed kind of doing different shifts, I've gotten to work and study under Angela and Sean and everyone on this team. Lindsay, everyone is fantastic. One thing I noticed, just due to the schedule, is that sometimes when you do a lot of evening weather, you kind of get closed out on some events. You know, maybe you can run and do something on a dinner break, but it gets a little bit tougher.
It does.
But the cool thing about the mornings is that your day is a little bit front-loaded work-wise, and that gives you some more opportunities. I mean, you were telling me how at one point I've been asking you questions about Weather Academy, and you've hit that 110% throughout your career, going to these schools and doing visits, and the community side, which even got me into TV in the first place, I think opens up more this morning.
And you know, as you know, you don't do it for your career. You do it for the joy of it. And I've had the privilege of getting to be an assistant coach for high school golf, high school baseball. My youngest son, after the 2 oldest left, I got to pick him up at school every day, and we would go out and have ice cream stuff. You get to do those things when you're on. Now, you get no sleep, but you get to spend time with your family, which is wonderful. One of the things, folks, that I'm so happy about Matt being on our crew is that he and Lindsay Monroe are the generation where they can do things that I just simply can't. And that is the new technology that we're involved with, our social platforms. I mean, I'm not real good at that, but you two are especially good at that. And there's going to be an announcement soon about an expansion of sorts of Sunrise. I'm just going to leave it out there. It's somewhere out in the ether, but that will happen. And I think that you are perfect to bring us into that new era. I need to be out of that, and you need to be in. So how do you feel about the new technology and how it affects what we do in broadcasting?
I think there's a lot of new opportunities. I like to see it as an opportunity because one thing in my short career so far is I've even seen, as you've probably seen, is how folks get their weather and where they're getting it.
Where they're getting
changes, right? Our viewing habits kind of change, how much you're on a phone versus TV versus the computer, all these different things. And just having all these different venues, what I've learned is each venue kind of has its own niche. And so you're kind of in, maybe you're in TV mode for a second, then you're in social media mode for a second. And we have our 13 plus, which I kind of consider like the Indiana Netflix out there. You have that niche as well. And so it really brings some new opportunities. One thing that I've actually really enjoyed, which has been funny for us too, especially before severe weather, we'll sometimes do an extra video on our Plus channel and we'll go 10, 15 minutes and the game is, how long can we go, Chuck? But I've had a blast doing that with you. Just getting to hear you talk and do your thing.
Lindsay said the other day, she said, we did one of those, and she said, you went off on the weirdest tangent, but it worked.
It works.
I said, my mind is a tangent.
Yes.
But I did want to mention to you folks at home, especially if you're older and you are tired of paying these obscene prices for cable or satellite. We love you for cable and satellite, but some people don't have that kind of cash. Sure. You can download 13 Plus and you can see every one of our newscasts live. And for me, and it's very selfish, I love the long form weather hits that we do that you could take advantage of. But for Steve Rhodes and Megan Simpson and me, our Chuck's Big Adventure team, you can see every one of our Chuck's Big Adventure episodes. And there's no other way that we could really do it with the quality of picture. I mean, you can see it on your phone, but this is wonderful. And I do think it's one of the great things that WTHR is offering.
I think so. I just think there's so much content available.
Yes.
And just so many things you can watch. I was telling Steve earlier, our photographer, about how I'm using all his videos in your Chuck's Big Adventures to kind of be planning my summer out a little bit and just things to do. It's all there and it's on demand, and we haven't been able to do that in the past.
Right.
You know, you had to do everything in a newscast, but now it's available anytime.
So tell me, what would you like to bring to Sunrise that's new and is you?
Yeah. I would like to continue to expand our Weather Academy. And I think that goes hand in hand with Sunrise because we're talking with, I'm hoping, you know, we continue to talk with those kids who are eating their waffles at home and getting ready as well, and their moms and their dads and kind of starting their day. But giving them the chance to say, hey, they're coming to my school later today. Love to hit it in a big way with Lindsay. Her and I are coming up with new experiments to do over the summer and to launch those and kind of have a big production to go to these schools. And so we've been really excited about that. And one thing that we're also talking about is we keep noticing in these new schools with new stadiums being built, a new opportunity to do the weather forecast for more and more high schools when they're getting ready to do their games and being able to come on there. You know, like you said, one thing I wanted to ask you, Chuck, is you're a huge part of the morning show, but so are the anchors. You have had a lot of anchors in your career. What's the secret sauce to having a good team there in the mornings?
You can't replace character and integrity. You can't replace it. You can't fake it because it all comes out in the end. And that's what has been the hallmark of almost all of our anchors is that character integrity trait. Julia has been with me for 25 years. And this sounds weird. I've seen her more than I have my wife in that 25 years. And Julia is an awesome person. I think those are the things they translate to TV. That you can trust those folks when they're on the air. And going back a little ways, back when you were younger, and a kid probably watching, one of my best friends that I've ever had in the world, Bruce Kopp, was with us for almost 20 years on Sunrise, went to college with him. And so I knew him, he knew me, and it just kind of blended. If you're not a nice person, you can't survive on that shift because it's brutal. But I think that's the key.
What I've learned just getting to know you all over the past year, everyone is so easy to work with and so helpful too. We sometimes have these quick commercial breaks, which is our time to get ready for the next part. And I'll ask Julie and Julia for something for help, and they'll drop everything, even though they have stuff to do, but they'll help. They'll help anyone out there. It's been fantastic.
When you are short-staffed, as every morning show in the country is, everybody has to help each other. But there is a benefit, man. You know what that benefit is? We get free popcorn on Friday.
We do. That's the best part.
Jackie, who's our security guard, pops popcorn for us at 5:30 every Friday morning. So we all look forward to Fridays.
I've asked the control room, as soon as the popcorn comes out, is that all they hear is the munching of our popcorn? Because we just start inhaling it.
Of course, I have had a hole stuck in my throat while I was trying to do a forecast, but that's all right. It works out.
It was worth it. It was worth it. I wanted to ask you, what would be your advice to morning meteorologists for this new generation coming ahead?
I would say this: keep at it. Work as hard as you can. Be open to being involved in the community, because those things don't change. I think sometimes people at the top who run TV networks and big local conglomerates, their bottom line, but that's not where you make your money. You make money with a business plan of news and community affairs. So I would say work hard on getting that forecast right. When you make a mistake, and it never happens, right? But when you do, you admit it, apologize for it, and then go on. But be as involved in the community as you can, because it will make you a better broadcaster. But by all means, work hard and keep at it. It is such a noble, noble profession.
One thing that I have loved getting to know you, and I already knew it a little bit beforehand, but now I know it's the real Chuck on the TV as it is in person, but the balance of your family and your faith. This job takes a lot. Do you have any advice on how there's a lot in this life, and how you balance those?
Well, the balance is easy if your mind is focused on the right things. Every morning I pray, I have a devotion, so I'm starting my day off the right way. And you can't do weather and not believe in God.
Sure.
Because
100%.
if you do, you're messed over for good. You will mess up completely.
Sure.
The balance, I don't know if I've always achieved it with my family. I think my kids would say probably yes, and in some cases no. Sure. And work-life balance is a big thing among young people now. But I think the example that I've set for my family, hopefully, is work hard, spend as much time as I can with them, and when I am with them, it's quality, it's all them. That's what I sought to do, and I'll be able to do more now with my granddaughters. But it's a constant battle, I think, for that balance, but it is attainable in some way.
Yeah, that's good to know. That is good to know. I will say, I feel like my generation is very focused on work-life balance, but I do think the work is important.
The work is real important because you won't have a job if you don't work.
That is very true.
Hey, my work-life balance now is all life.
Yes.
What happened to the work?
Sure.
But yes, if you work hard, and if it's a job like we have, it's not really work, right? You enjoy it so much that you have a passion for it that it's easy to achieve there.
There's a math equation that I still don't understand about this job. And we're math people. Meteorology is numbers, it's math. You can work a long, hard morning, and then maybe you have something in the afternoon, and you're thinking, I don't know if my body can take this. You've probably been in that situation several times.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times.
Like every day, Matt.
Every day. Never stop. Later in the afternoon, let's say you've got a school visit or something, or a dinner talk or something like that. But the crazy math about the community side of this job is that sometimes going into it, so tired. But then afterwards, all of a sudden, you've got this energy as if you've taken a nap all afternoon. You feel great. Have you felt that before?
Just about every time I do a community event. I'll give you an example real quickly. So I was doing the Indiana Symphony Orchestra April Spring Gala, which is a big deal at the Columbia Club. And I arrived there and I thought, wow, not only do I think I cannot do this, but I can't even make it up the stairs here to get into this ballroom. After it was over, I felt like I could run 5 miles because you know that you're having an impact. You're getting a lot more than you give, by the way. And so it is like a shot of adrenaline.
That is wonderful. 2 more questions for
Okay.
you, Chuck. Okay, number 1. What is your new alarm clock time going to be?
I know I'll still be getting up about 2 or 3, but maybe going back to bed. My goal is to watch the last hour of sunrise every day.
Sure.
And I've kind of got that laid out. I will still watch sunrise. I'll watch you and Julia and Julia and Lindsay every day, but it won't be for 3 hours. It'll be for 1, then I'll go out and walk the dog. So I know I'm going to do that.
Well, we'll practice all morning to make sure that last half hour is
It better be good.
It better be good.
Put the junk stories on early. I want to see the good
You
stuff
want to do
here.
the good stuff. That is so funny. Okay, that's good to know. And my last question for you is, Chuck, I am so excited for you as you're entering this new chapter. And I could feel the excitement from so many folks, even at the Indy 500. Steve Rhodes and Megan, we'd be on a way to go to a location, and we kept stopping along the way because people were coming up and saying congratulations, and they're so excited for you. And you don't just say hi and bye. You get to know that person as much as time allows, because we're on a schedule, which has been so really cool to see the impact. But my question for you are there things that you've been thinking about? Once I get in retirement, I'm going to be able to really get to focus on this. Are there 1 or 2 of those things that you're most excited for?
Yeah. My granddaughters, Charlie, Riley, and Logan. Logan is a little bitty baby, and I want to be involved in their lives. I can't be involved in their lives much because they live so far away. So that I want to have fun with each of my sons individually as well. And I want to take my wife to some of these places where we've gone on Chuck's Big Adventures. We're going to take a New England fall cruise in the autumn. But yeah, but also I think the most important thing, and those are all important, those are the reasons I'm retiring, but I'm going to be speaking in churches and men's conferences. Even just in a few weeks will be my first. So I'll be doing some of that, and that will help fill out my life, but also do what I'm supposed to be doing anyway.
Weather is somewhat fulfilling, but the community side is what's most fulfilling.
Right.
And get to do that is an amazing opportunity.
Well, you're going to do a great job. And folks, I just wanted to say we have such an incredible weather team. Angela Buckman, for my money, my 2 favorite meteorologists are Al Roker, who I've known for 35 years, and then Angela Buckman, who actually the Indiana University brass hate my guts because I told her, if you want to be a meteorologist, I love IU, but you're going to have to leave there and go to Purdue, and she did, and now she's one of the great meteorologists in the country. But you have Sean Ash, who's great at severe weather. Then you have Matt, who's going to do a marvelous job, Lindsay and Monroe, the 2 Eastern Indiana stars here, and then Rob, who's also on our staff, is going to do great. So I leave this in wonderful hands, and just so happy for you. I know you're going to do a great job, buddy.
Thank you, Chuck.
So thank you to you
appreciate
for
it.
taking this gig, and also thanks to you for watching all of these years. It has been the joy of a lifetime. When I came here, I was 28 years old, married with 2 babies under the age of 2, and I thought, how is this going to work? And so it has worked now for 40 years, and I'm so blessed and thankful to the Lord for this opportunity. Thankful for you too, Matt. So folks, thank you so much. Make sure to watch Matt every morning on Sunrise, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you, Noble Coffee and
Thank you,
Tea.
Noble Coffee. It's fantastic.
Cheers.
Cheers.